Welcome to another episode of Groovi Tuesday. My name is Paul Church from Clarity Crafts. Hope everybody's well. I can see we have some friends tuned in already over on our YouTube page. Good morning, Ian and Roz. Hope everybody's well. Lovely Sue will be in the room with you this morning. So if you have any questions, then she's there to help. And I'm sure some of our lovely design team members will also be joining us this morning. So very warm here in Kent, the south of England. Good morning, Mo. Yes, all good, all good. Lovely brand new studio created by Dave, and Jim has rejigged all the cameras and the lights, but we've got a lovely sort of backdrop now. So yeah, so it's looking good. Lots of exciting things to come. So screen's a little bit further away, so I'm definitely going to have to put my glasses on to read the messages. But it just a few little things just need tweaking here and there. So hopefully you can hear me. Let's have a look. See if I can. Oh, that's better. Yeah, hopefully you can hear me. That we've got all the connections. See, lovely Jayne's in the room. Karin, good morning. Good morning. There we go. It does. It looks very snazzy, doesn't it? Mr. Dave's handiwork. We've got a new wall behind us, which means that we can get to the windows and open them, so we can get some ventilation in the room. Although saying that, I have closed it for this morning's session because the outside traffic's quite noisy. I've got a couple of fans on to keep it cool. So yeah, really looking forward to today, as always. So I hope everybody's well and staying cool. Yeah, what a week it has been indeed. What happened? Where was we since we last met? So last Tuesday we had Groovi Tuesday. Then it was up to TV on Thursday and Friday. In the shack yesterday with the kimono. That was lovely. All of a sudden it sort of just came alive, didn't it? From a square, and all of a sudden by putting the definition in, you have the lovely kimono in there. And then today is Groovi Tuesday. Thursday evening at 7 o'clock is a craft along with Barb, using the Jayne Nestorenko Winter Seam Stamps collection. Then on Sunday, it's the first Sunday of the month, so that means 2 hours of all things clarity, 3 till 5 on Create and Craft. So yeah, I can see all the messages popping up there. So maybe next time I'll bring the screen a little bit closer, or we'll get the font made larger. So yeah, so today the final episode of Jayne Nestorenko's Floral sampler that we've been working on, and we've had a couple of interludes in between. We got hippie chicked, didn't we, with the and the calligraphy girls. And so this is the final episode using this plate. And over the past what are we up to now? We're on part 14. So we've been doing this for 14 weeks on and off, and we've been looking at how this plate, where you can take the artwork individually, you can build beautiful sort of design elements from them. But it's a great way of practicing different skills. So it doesn't matter what level of parching you're at, this is a beautiful plate to experiment with and create exquisite artwork. It all started with this piece of artwork from Karen Jackson. Okay, let's swap to a different camera. Let's see what this looks like on this camera. There we go. So the lovely sort of shadow embossing and that lovely white work, where the leaves and the petals just look as if you can really lift it off of the page. So what we did over the course of the weeks, we looked at tracing out with the number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then if I turn it onto the back, we used our shader tools, which were finally back in stock. We used ball tools and just added different layers of whiteness to our piece of artwork. Okay. And then we also looked at this piece of artwork here, which was from excuse me, Let me just move that fan because it's just blowing right in the wrong direction. There we go. Let's move it there. This was from one of the It's a Wrap collections from Linda Williams, and we just slowly built up the layers of shadow embossing, and that was definitely using the shader tools. So we stuck with the dahlia, which is just one of the many designs on that plate. And then I had a play with adding some colour. So we used some gel pens, pergoliners, and I made some little notes on what techniques I'd used, how I'd mix the colours. If I take a piece of white paper and pop that underneath, so you can see the vibrancy of those colours. So this was Dorso crayons with a blending pen. This was Perga colour pens, dry brushed, pergoliner pencils with some Dorso oil. So we had a look at different ways of applying colour to our design. Then we worked together and we went off on some different colours. I tend to always go with sort of like the oranges and the reds and the yellows. So we used the pergoliner pencils, the Dorso crayons with pencils on top. Then we used the pens, the number 1, 2, 3. And we had some great tips from our lovely design team members as well. So that's what we looked at there. Then we looked at the butterflies, okay, and we added some colour to the butterflies using a combination of different B pencils. Okay, so that was fun. And then we decided to combine everything together and start to create our piece of artwork. So we looked at how we can create our square frames, if we wanted to take them directly from the plate, if we wanted to get equal spacing between each of our squares. And this is where we left off last time. So we created our piece of artwork, and then we started to apply colour. So if I take a piece of paper underneath, there we go, we can see that beautifully, can't we? I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So I'm just going to do my groovy yoga and just reach up. I've got the piece of paper in place. So there we go. So we're just going to zoom in. I'll come in nice and slowly. Okay, there we go. I wonder if I can just move that screen forward a little bit without it affecting the camera in front. So just bear with for a moment. If I come forward to there, let me just check the front camera. Yeah, I reckon that's will probably do. Save me putting my glasses on. Oh, let's have a look. So pop that back in place. Yep, perfect. Ah, that's it. I can definitely see now. Whoops, he says. We've got a new stool as well. So forget there's no back and no arms. So this could be fun the next hour. Okay. So hope everybody's well. Like I said, there's a lot of banter going on in the room. Chilly but sunny in Norway. Wow. Yes, no, it's very. I think we're having our summer here in the UK at the moment, probably for the next couple of days, and then it'll all be over. So definitely need to make the most of that. Okay. So if we have a look at what we've been doing here, we for the butterfly, I use the pergoliner pencils and I use the B14 and the B4 to apply my colour there. And then on the rose, I've used the Dorso crayon and the B5B pencil to add a little bit of definition, to give it a little bit of shading. And so this week for the Agapanthers, we're going to use the Perga colour pens. And I still haven't decided what sentiment I'm going to pop on the inside there. Okay. Yeah, I definitely won't be leaning back, Hazel, don't worry. Well, fingers crossed, he says. Okay. So what we're going to need for today's session is, I mean, maybe you've only got the pergoliner pencils. You can complete your whole piece using one medium. It's entirely up to you, but I just wanted to show over the past few weeks how you can use the pens, use the pencils, use the crayons, mix and match them, combine both of them together as well, and sort of just experiment with the colours. You don't necessarily always have to go direct onto your finished piece of artwork, as I've been doing over the past few weeks, where we have our little sampler, we play with colours. You'll notice that I've always tested my colours onto a scrap of parchment to see whether the colours work well together, how they're going to react, and then practice and then go on to your finished piece of artwork. But you know what? When you look at the exquisite designs from Jayne, there is so much on there. We've got the dahlias. So whether you want to go for the smaller bouquet of dahlias, you've got that lovely butterfly. You've then got the main one. We've got our lovely little scroll panels. Then moving on, we've then got our roses, another butterfly, a lovely rose frame. Then we move on to our fuchsias, lovely little bumblebee there. And sometimes it's not until you trace out the plate that you actually see little things. Then we have the, oops, it won't slide. Then we've got the agapanthus, which we're going to work on next. So we're going to focus on the small one. My agapanthus are coming up in the garden at the moment, and they're absolutely beautiful. We've got that butterfly. So this was the butterfly that I chose for my piece of artwork. And then moving into more of the festive period, we've got the holly and the ivy. I mean, that would just make a lovely background, wouldn't it? Lovely frame. Excuse me, I need to move that fan again. Let's turn it that way. Okay, and then we've got the poinsettia, but depending on how you colour it in, it could be any flower. It could be a clematis, couldn't it? Don't necessarily have to put the veins in. That would make a lovely clematis. Peace on earth, merry and bright. So it really is a useful plate that you can sort of spend lots of time on creating lots of lovely artwork. Okay, I'm sure Sue's popped the link up to that one for you if maybe you're tuning in. Do we have any friends tuning in for the first time? If so, welcome. Give us a shout out. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Are you in the UK? Are you abroad? Okay, right. So I'm going to be using the Pergacolor pens. I've got a scrap of parchment to one side, and I've got my pens already in my bag. So there's a couple of sort of like lilacs and purples. So let's go for those. And then I probably want a nice green. So I should have took a picture of my agapanthus as a comparison, shouldn't I? Okay. So let's have a look at the colour selection I've chosen for mine. And we're going to test it on the parchment first to see what the colours look like. Okay. Glasses on. So Jayne is from sunny South Yorkshire. Welcome, Jayne. Is this the first time you've tuned in, or have you been watching on catch up? Okay, so we've got this lovely colour here. Now, don't forget the Pergacolor pens are double-ended. So this one is number 10. So I'm creating like a little key. Then this one here is more of a bluey colour. This one is number 13. Okay, then we have this one, which is number 9. That one there. And you can get agapanthus in various different colorways. I've got a white one, but that hasn't made an appearance just yet. Okay, not so keen on that green, which is number 18. So I'm going to go back to my stash of colors. You get 30 lovely colors in the collection. I wonder whether let's try some other greens. I've got several to choose from. So this one here is number 17. Let's have a look at this one. So I'm glad I checked, because I thought that 18 would work really well on there. But now, what number is this? Number 17. I'm not so keen. So 17, I think this one may be a little bit too bright. Yeah, that's too bright, but we'll still make a note of that color. Okay, so I'm just gonna get rid of 16. I think that's too bright. 17 is a nicer color option. And then, see, my agapanthus are sort of a cross between number 13 and 10. But I think I'm going to go for 13 on my piece. So Jill's got one agapanthus that's come up and it's white. Yeah, I really wish I'd taken a picture now, because I've got about, from one bush, I think I've got about 6 beautiful agapanthus. But the white one hasn't, I think it's budding, but I don't think it's made an appearance yet. Well, it definitely hasn't made an appearance, because I remember, I think it's on the opposite side of the path. Okay, so I'm going to go for number 13 and number 17. Okay, we're going to work on the back of our artwork. And very simply, we're just going to apply the color. Okay, so let's do the stems first. So I'm going to use the what am I going to use? I'm going to use the wider nib of my pen to apply the color. Where am my phone going? There we go. Okay, glass is definitely required. So Glynis says she often mixes 17 and 16 on her mix mat and it makes a nice leafy color. Okay, so 16 and 17. Maybe we should give that a try. And Glynis, what method of application do you then use to apply the color to your leaf? Do you use a blending pen? Do you use a brush? I've got my mix mat here somewhere. And yeah, there we go. Lives in the back of there. Okay, so I've got my mix mat. I've got a spare Groovi tab there. Okay. So let's see, what does Glynis use to apply? Let's just wait for that to come in. I know there's often a time delay. So whilst we're waiting for that, we've mentioned what's coming up over this week ahead at Clarity Towers. A dry water brush, perfect. I'm sure I've got one of those in my stash somewhere, but do I have it to hand? Let me see. Yes. Okay, there we go. Right. Whoops. I'm glad the camera was on the overhead. Right. Okay. What I'm going to do then, I'm going to trace out, let's have a look on Jayne's plate. Okay. And let's take a leaf. There's going to be okay, let's take a leaf here. Let's take a leaf out of Glynis's book, so to speak. So let's use this same piece of parchment there. We're going to wipe with a tumble dry sheet, like so. And I'll just trace out with the number 1 tool to give us our outline, like so. We'll just put let's just do the middle stem, shall we? Like so. So we're going to do these leaves here. See, that's the beauty of the Groovi system, is that you can pick and choose the elements you want to. So we've got some lovely open leaves there. Okay, and let's go for, I mean, there's not much greenery, it's just stem really on this one, isn't it? And some little buds there. But let's have a look. So Glynis says that she used number 16 and 17. So I've got 16 and I've got 17. So we're going to scribble out some 16 and then a little bit of 17. Then let's take our brush and then mix that together. I reckon possibly a little bit more of the darker. Let's give it a go. Okay. And then what we're going to do is apply the colour to the back of our parchment. Okay. Just like so. So let's bring a piece of white card in so we can see. So we've got a very sort of soft, subtle look to our leaf, like so. Now if I take, let me just show you the difference. If I take the number 17 and we go direct to the parchment, and don't forget, when I'm using the pens, I'm tickling the parchment. Okay, I'm literally, it's, has anybody tried tickling the parchment with the pens? You probably think I'm all mad. But it does, for me personally, I find it makes a difference. So then let's go for number 16. And we're going to tickle the parchment. Okay. So now when we turn this over, so you've got this lovely bright green from the number 21. No, 16. I'm trying to read the back to front. And then that one is 17 direct. And then this one here is a combination of both on the mix mat, diluted down. But it's just diluted down due to the application of the colour. Okay. Go on, tell me somebody else's has tried tickling the parchment. I bet you have, haven't you? Go on, someone make my day. Please tell me that somebody's tried tickling the parchment with the colouring in, using the pens and tracing out and doing the white work, just gently building it up. I'm sure somebody has. I'm just trying to read all the messages. Who else tickles their parchment? Let's have a little vote. I'm sure some of you have tried it just out of curiosity, even if you don't continue with it. Jayne said she had stopped tickling the parchment. She couldn't hear her book. The parchment was giggling too loudly. Lillian's an ace tickler. There we go. Lynn said we're going to picture Ken in his kimono tickling his parchment. Oh dear, 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 dear. Okay. See, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's all about enjoying the moment. And if whilst you're working and you're doing something and it prompts that little giggle inside, oh, I'm tickling the parchment. It's lovely, isn't it? Okay, so we digress. So let me go back to my agapanthus, and I think I'm going to go with Glynis's method. So I'm going to apply, let's go back to the overhead, apply some green onto here. So that was number 17 and number 16. Okay, and then we're using a dry water brush just to mix that colour together. See, and the beauty of these water brushes is that you can really get into fine areas as well. A little bit of green underneath there. A little bit of green just coming in on the little buds there. Doesn't need much. Just a little bit. Just like so. I do love an agapanthus, especially a Jayne's agapanthus as well. Okay, so if we have a look at that now, if we turn this over, we can see we've just added some very soft and subtle green to our agapanthus. Okay, so now we have the options when we come to using the pens on our agapanthus itself, on the flower heads. So I said that I was going to go with the number 13, colour 13. Okay. Now that I've got my dry water brush out and I've also got my mix mat, I'm thinking maybe I could go with 10 and 13. What do you think? Okay, so let's take our sample piece of artwork again. So what I need to do is actually just make a note on the colours that I've used here. So this was 17 and 18. It's so warm in here. Let's have a look. Let's try this pen. 17. That's better. 17 and 18. Perga colours. Whoops. And then this is mix mat. And this is direct. And so is this. Okay, so just some little notes so I can go back and have a look. Okay, so for the Perga colours, I need to write on here, just so I've got my record. So it was number 16 and 17 plus mix mat. Okay, so that's my green. So if I go back to this piece now, let's put the lid on there and bring back my plate from Jayne. And there's the agapanthus. So what I'm going to do now is trace out a couple of the agapanthus heads. So let's go for this one here. Like so. Let's put those in as well, so it doesn't look too odd. I'm going to do another one. Let's do another one down here. There we go. Just need to give that a bit of a wipe with a tumble dry sheet. There we go. I missed that one. And then let's do one more. Let's put that back in because I missed that little bit down there. And we'll do one more. Okay, and then we're going to have a look at the different applications on whether we go direct to the parchment or whether we go in for the mix mats. Okay, so we're going to stick to the back of our work. I'm just going to wipe the nib. Excuse me. So what colours did I say? I said I was going to go for 13, didn't I? So number 13. So if I go direct to my agapanthus bud, so we're going to, I don't know why, but I just find it easier upside down. I don't know. So gently tickle the parchment, like so. See? Everybody up and down the country is now going to be tickling their parchment. Let's take a little bit of that green. Just so you can give it some. Too bright, that green, definitely. Okay, so this one here is number 13, and that's direct. Okay, so if I scribble out number 13 onto my mix map, like so, and then I'm going to go for number 10. So I suppose it's similar to Glynis, isn't it? It's light and dark that Glynis has combined. Okay. Then we shall take a brush pen and let's have a look at this colour. Quite like this colour. This looks quite nice now. So we're going to apply using the dry water brush. To the back, we go back and we pick up our colour again. The nib allows us to get directly into there. Okay, I'm going to try something else as well. Okay. Put those two there, put that to one side. I'm going to try, just as a matter of interest, I'm going to take my blending pen with a blending nib. Okay, like so. And then we're going to pick up the colour from our mix mat. I want to see whether I get a different shade, if that sort of makes sense, from using the water brush and the blending pen. So really what we're doing, we're now creating, in a way, our own felt tip pen, aren't we? Let's go back in. Carry on. If we need to add more colour, then we can. It doesn't look much, but the reveal will be coming shortly. Okay. Right. Okay. Should we go for the reveal now? Let's have a look. So there's not much in it between the using the water brush and the blending nibs. Okay. For me personally, the only difference I noticed while I was using it is that the nib absorbs more of the ink, whereas the water brush allows the colour to sit more on the brush. That's direct onto the parchment. I'm a little bit undecided on whether I want it to be that blue or not. So question from Mo, could you use the Dorso oil with the felt tips or do they not mix? They do not mix. The Dorso oil has been designed to work with a wax-based product. So for example, the Dorso crayons, the Pergaliner B pencils. The Pergacolor pens are a water-based pen. So you can use them, you can scribble out and add a little bit of water to it and then just use a really sort of dry brush to apply it. But I wouldn't try and mix the Dorso oil with the Pergacolor pens. That would not work. So, but it's a great question. It really is, because there could be many people in the room that would think, oh, I can use the Dorso oil with it, but they're two completely different sort of products. So there you go. So Glynis is saying you have such an endless palette of or supply of colours when you use the mix mat. And you can, and if you keep a little record of the colours you've used, whether you've got more green, more dark, more light, oil and water, of course. I mean, it's definitely worth asking the question, because obviously if you did try it on your artwork, you'd soon know. So there's nothing wrong in asking at all. That's what we're here for. Okay, so if I have a look at this on the camera over here, let's just get used to this new camera. Me personally, I don't know, do I prefer going direct onto the parchment, or do I prefer that more softer, subtle look? I suppose when I compare it to my overall piece of artwork, we have gone on that sort of soft colour palette, but you know what? I think that bluey one works a lot better. I'm not sure. I think I like the direct one. I think that's the one that I'm going to go for. It's got that more bluiness to it, hasn't it? Okay. So back to our piece of artwork in question. Pop these bits to one side. What colour was it? It was 13. Oh, I've forgotten already. It's just as well. I've written it on here. So number 13. So this is great because they're numbered. I could say light lilac, mauve, purple. We would all see this as a different colour, wouldn't we? So I'm going to go for the larger end of the nib. And I don't know if you can see on the barrel of the pen, it has ridges on this end. And that indicates that that is the fine tip nib. Okay. I always forget. I know that's what it is, but I always go to the opposite one. It's sort of the joy of it, isn't it? Okay. Now to apply, don't forget what we're going to do. We're going to tickle the parchment. Okay. So don't ask me why, but upside down works for me. I'm going to lean on a piece of card and then just gently tickle the parchment. And you can build layers of colour up as well, but you would definitely need to let it dry and absorb into your parchment first. Otherwise, all you're going to do is reactivate the colour and keep moving it around. Okay. I bet many of you have already finished this project by now, haven't you? Been going on for so long. So let me tell you. So there'll be no Groovi Tuesday for the next 2 weeks. Okay. And the reason being is next week, I'll be heading up to TV on the Tuesday morning for a 1-day special. So it's earlier this month and it's different days. And that is because we have our summer retreats the following week. Okay, so there's no Groovi Tuesday next week. There's no Groovi Tuesday the week after. So I will be back with you on, I know it sounds like a long time away. I'm sure you can cope. It will be on Tuesday the 20th of August. Okay. And when we do come back, we're going to be working with Josie's circular grids. Now, we recently launched the diagonal pattern. So I'm going to be focusing on the diagonal. If you have the straight circular grids, that sounds like a contradiction in itself, doesn't it? Then what we're going to be doing, you'll be able to do exactly the same, but you'll just have a different pattern. So on the 20th when we return, that's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be focusing on the circular grids from Josie. Okay. But I know many of our friends in the room today have already purchased those. If you only got one, that's fine. The principle is going to be the same. It's just that your design, your finished piece, will be slightly different. Okay. So yeah, a little bit of a break for 2 weeks. Then, okay, hands up. Who's coming to our summer retreats in Ditton? So not next week, the week after. It's on Tuesday and Wednesday, which is currently sold out. Not currently, it has sold out. But there are some limited spaces available on the 15th and 16th. And Barb has been giving everyone a sneaky peek of a brand new technique that she's come up with using the lovely collage papers. And that's definitely going to be on, well, it's definitely one of the projects on the retreat in 2 weeks' time. There we go. So, right, we've got our colour in there. That one there, I think, needs to be green. I wonder whether I've still got some green on my palette that I can pick up. Yeah, that's still activated. That one, where's it gone? There it is. So just go in and just add a little bit more. Just moving that around a bit. There we go. Right. So now when we turn this over, should we do the reveal now? So now, yeah, I'm happy with that choice. I think this was the right one to apply the colour, which was number 13. Now, if we wanted to, if we felt that we needed to, let me go back to one of these here, for example. So if I go, because I went on, I didn't really tickle the parchment on this one, but if I come in here, and just apply the colour on top. So we're still working on the back. Okay, so that's, so if you've gone on light and you think, see, there's a slight shade variant on that, isn't there, by mixing the two together. Okay, so what I want to try now is taking my pergaliner pencil. So I reckon this one would be a nice complement. So this is the B4. Okay, and I would say I need a sharper pencil. So let me just sharpen this. There we go. I'm going to put it on the white. So I'm working on the front now. Trying to stay away from the white line. Definitely need a brush. Okay, now it doesn't really show up so well on there, so this is why I'm glad I practiced on here. But let's put some tickling. I do like to tickle the parchment. Okay, and it's just, okay, Okay, let's try on the back on this one. Sometimes it's all about having a play with colour. So we've definitely added on the lighter one, on the lighter one, I've added some colour using the pencils, but my preference would be to do it on the back. Okay. So do I want to, I don't think I need any more to add on to there. Don't know whether it's shot because I've gone on quite, I wonder whether, oh, let's try, hang on. Let's do it on this one. I know I should practice first. I just want to, if I do it on one. If I do it on one and I don't like it, it's not really going to stand out, is it? Right, okay, I don't know if you can see that. So what I did was working on the back with the pencil, and this is on top of the pen on that one there. By starting at the base and flicking upwards, I've definitely got a little bit more depth and character to my agapanthus. So I'm now going to repeat that. I'm not saying I'm going on heavy, but I'm not tickling at this point. And I'm just staying in the bottom section of each of the petals. So it shows that you can combine the pencils with the pen. Okay. Can't remember if I've done these or not now. So what else have I got to tell you? Let me see. Let me glance at my list. So Thursday evening, craft along with Barb, using another collection of beautiful designs from Jayne Nestorenko, and that's using the Winter Scenes stamp set. There's a downloadable list of ingredients if you would like to craft along at the same time. So Sue will pop the link up if she hasn't already. So if you want to gather all your bits and pieces, you've got between now and Thursday evening at 7 o'clock to do so. Yeah, so that's Thursday. And then Sunday, so I'm using a brush to remove the debris now because my hands are really warm, and if I use my hands it's just going to melt pigment of the pencil, which I don't really want to do. Okay, so if I, right, I'm going to see how far I can zoom in without it going out of focus. So I'm just going to stand up and stretch and come in a little bit. Let's have a look. That's really a bit too close. Put this onto the microscope. So if I just move that forward a little bit. So if I take, so we can see now how we've just added a little bit of depth and shade to the base of each of those. And I can do the same with the green on there on the leaf work as well. So if I take, this is the B7, so I can go in and I'm just flicking from the bottom like I did with the blue. Okay. just to add a little bit, and I'm still doing all of this on the back of my work as well. Okay, so now when we turn that over, we've now sort of just added a little bit more colour to our artwork. It's very warm in here, despite the fact that I've got a fan going on underneath the desk. I've got a fan going on here. Really, there's no heat. I nearly fell off the stool. There's no heat coming from the lights. It's just the outside temperature. I should have brought some water in with me, but it doesn't matter. Plenty of coffee. I didn't need Ken's cup to keep my coffee warm today because it's warm enough. So to finish this piece of artwork off, okay, I'm going to zoom out a bit now. So let me bring this out and let's have a look. So zoom out. We're going to come out this way. There we go. Right, okay. So do I want to put a sentiment on there? I think now would be the time to put the sentiment on. So let's have a look what we have on the plate. I think this is going to be sort of a generic one. So I'm going to go for best wishes because that can convey so many different meanings. So, oh look, it was the one that actually came with it. So relocate that back into place. I'm going to take my number 1 tool and trace out. I'm cheating by not taping it down. May regret that. Regret that. It's a lovely font designed by Jim to complement Jayne's lovely artwork. And I don't need to worry about positioning, about spelling, because it's already there on the plate for me. Okay, so I've now got best wishes, perfect. And then in order to finish off, we've got choices. I'm going to go for my new best friend when it comes to working and cutting down parchment. So I've got my blue mat, and I can line it up on here if I choose to. Okay, but really the work is going to be done by the ruler. So my ruler has the Groovi grip on the back. See, no Groovi grip, Groovi grip. Okay. Then I'm going to take my lovely Japanese craft knife. Okay. I'm going to use the grid on the ruler to work out my positioning and also to make sure that, so I'm putting the pink line centrally down the middle of the outer white embossed line. Craft knife held upright, and then cut. There's no rules to say that you have to cut parchment or paper or card with one pass of the knife. It's whatever you feel comfortable doing. Same when it comes to tracing out the line art. There's no rules to say that you have to get that crisp white line art through the first pass of the tool. Okay. Like so. Turn it round. Reposition the ruler. You can use a guillotine if you prefer, or you could use your Pico dies to cut this out. or you could perforate and picot cut by hand. It's entirely up to you. But we're definitely going to be doing some picot cutting in a couple of weeks when we look at Josie's circular grids. And as Josie said, when we launch them, if you're looking to get into your grid or your lace work, then the circular grids are a very good one to get started with, because they're easy to line up and position. Right, so let's pop that to one side. So now I've got the really hard decision of deciding on what backing paper I want to go for. So colour palette from here, I'm thinking maybe the new Antarctica companion papers. What do I have behind me here? I'm going to stand up because I'm definitely going to fall off this stool. Okay, so first time ever we've had Antarctica as a companion paper, and I know many of you took advantage when we recently got these back in stock and we relaunched them. But there is a beautiful array of lovely colours in here, and I reckon there's definitely going to be one in here that's going to complement my artwork. Okay, so let's have a look. See, the first one works straight away. Let me pop that one to one side. A little bit too dark, a little bit too light. Pink works. A little bit wishy-washy. A little bit yellow. That's quite nice. A tealy colour. That works. That works. A little bit too dark. That works. That one works. That one works. That one works. It's all right, the record's not stuck. Too dark. Possibly. Not sure. Definitely brings out the colour of the agapanthus. A little bit too light. That's nice. I like that one as well. I also like that one. And I like that one. And I think if I come back to the beginning, I may have already... No. That one. Definitely done a pink. Let me see. Let me count out how many I've got here. I don't think... No, I haven't finished, because look. We've still got this colour. Still got this colour. Because there's 24 different colours, and you get 2 of each. Right, okay, I reckon I've definitely gone through half the pack on that one. So, oh look, I've got 5 colours to choose from. 5! So let's go. We're going to go number 1. Let's have a vote. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Or number 5. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Okay, let's give it a few moments for the votes to come in. I'm between 1 and 5 as well at the moment. 1 and 5, I reckon. Yeah. Oh, we've got a wild card in there. We've got number 3. Nobody's going for 2 or 4. So we've got that one. Yeah, I'm going to go with number 1. I think that's the nicest color option on there. Okay, so I've got to remember to replace this piece from that pack because it's for display purposes only. So that's going to go on there like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brads, he says, my brads, which is in my storage, and I'm going to keep it nice and simple and go with silver. I need 4 of those. There we go, 4 of those. Then I need my super foam, which is, where's my super foam? There we go, I've got my super foam-ish. I've got to need my 1 needle bold. Yep, that'll do. Okay. Oh, this, it's the floor, it's not the stool. The stool glides lovely. Okay, so we're going to pop that just on there, like so. 1 needle bold, and then we're going to go right in the middle there. We're going to push the brad into the center, make sure it's lined up. Brad, not brad, bold needle into there. Brad in position, move down to the bottom corner, like so. Final corner into place, just like so. Carefully remove from the super foam, like so. Onto a hard surface, turn it over, and then open the back of the brads. Now I'd like to position mine at, whoops, sorry, hang on, let it focus, at a 90-degree angle. I'm going to zoom out a little bit for this so it stops going all fuzzy outwards. There we go. Just while I do this, it's because it's white on the overhead, so just like so on the back. Yeah, just manipulate them so that they're all pointing inwards, like so. Then I'm going to bring my blue mat back into play. Ruler. Let's have a look. What sort of space have I got there? I've probably got, yeah, that wasn't a bad guess, was it? It is about 1. So that goes like so. Now, because we're on the brad, all I'm doing is I'm on the brad and I'm now leaning into the paper, like so. And because I've got my Groovi grip on there, doesn't slide. So same position, like so. Line it up, press downwards, like so. 1, 2. A lovely piece of artwork. And then we can pop it onto card blank, a little bit too big, but there is our finished piece. I'm going to probably see if I can find a smaller card behind me. Let's have a look. So we can, project completion. That goes on there, we go, that's better. That goes on there. And it says falling off the stool, not really. That's our finished piece. And when you look at the amount of designs on that plate from Jayne, you can come up with so many various different combinations. So thank you for joining me once again. I hope you've enjoyed that. Don't forget, 2-week break, and then when we come back on the 20th, we'll be using Josie's circular grids. I'm going with the new diagonals. Haven't decided which one yet, but whatever we do, it doesn't matter which one you have, whether you have the diagonal or the straight, it just needs to be a circular grid. And we're definitely going to pop those through their paces and put those through their paces and really share and sort of indulge from the perforating, the embossing, combination of doing one or the other, doing them both together, the picot cutting. So yeah, we're definitely going to have fun with those. So don't forget, Thursday evening, 7 p.m, Craft Along with Barb in the Shack or on Facebook and YouTube. Then Sunday, 3 till 5, 2 hours, first Sunday of the month on Create and Craft. Barb's back with you in the Shack on Monday. And then I'll see you on TV Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. So thanks as always to the lovely design team and Sue for your help, and everybody else. Enjoy yourself, enjoy the sunshine. You know what? Stay inside, stay in the shade if you can, and do some grooving. Right, where's the mouse gone? Oh, there it is. Take care now. Bye bye.